What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and happy Memorial Day. Hopefully, you guys have today off from whatever your main job is and are just kind of either enjoying the weather or uh, spending time with your family or some combination of the two. And I will be doing that sooner than later. But for now, we're going to be focusing on DFS. And special thing we're trying today is we're going to be doing some prop betting. And I just keep putting this stuff off. We take on a lot of different new tools and different ways to make money. And James, uh, with the Paydirt models, puts a lot of effort and a lot of work into these tools. And from what I hear, they're very, very valuable for prop betting. I usually don't do it, so it's just not something that I'm too familiar with. But I figured I wanted to shake things up a little bit. Bobby isn't here anyway. I will spend a little bit of time a little bit later getting into the DFS stuff for today, as usual. But first, I want to dive into these prop betting models and fire some bets off. And I'll give you some disclaimers right off the bat. Number one, I have no idea what I'm doing. And when I say no idea what I'm doing, I don't even know really where to click to put these bets in. So just a couple of things that you're going to have to accept. Number one, I am not going to get the best price like anywhere. I'm going to be probably putting everything in on DraftKings just because I'm lazy and I don't know how to click through it. If you really want to do it the right way, obviously you're going to want to get the best prices. And I know, Kevin, if you're watching this, Kevin, you're going to be texting me after this. Why do you bet on DraftKings? They have the worst props. They have the worst odds. They have the worst everything. Okay, I get it. I understand. And yeah, there are all kinds of tools out there that'll automatically click through and let you bet like exactly where you're supposed to bet and all the different things. I just don't think I have it in me um, to hunt around. Honestly, I just want to do this to display the tools, to get people and publicize a little bit and fire off some action and just kind of have some fun with this, okay, and kind of learn where all this is. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And again, this is literally like they said, this is my first time. So be gentle. Um, so this is the TrueDFS site. And here we're actually piped into the Paydirt prop models. And again, if I go ahead and go a little bit too slow or too fast, I don't know really where I'm going. That's just on me. But they have these kind of breakdowns, like different pitcher prop projections and things like that, hitter prop projections, player prop sims, and all that stuff. And I'm really not equipped to demo all of that right now. I'm sure that James could, and I'm sure Adam has, or whatever. But all we're doing today is we're just finding the best bets and then just firing it. So what we're going to do is go to this bet sheet, like all the way at the end. And you'll have to trust me that based on all of this stuff, okay, all the sim stuff and the hitter props, and it summarizes all this for you for the best bets of the day, okay? So what this is doing is it allows you to rank these in certain ways, like the difference, the payout, and all this stuff. But I'm going to be focusing on this again because I'm just kind of very simplistic. I'm just going to just look at the bottom line here, which I think is edge. Okay, not just rate of return. I just want the edge. All right. So what I'm going to be doing today. Let's just start with baseball. And listen, if we have time, we have some fun with this. We'll try to go to basketball too, I guess. So there's two columns I'm looking at. One is this over edge, and the other, I guess, is the under edge. So these are probably the best bets, I guess, if you wanted to go under a certain thing. And these are the best bets, if we sort this way, if you want to go in over a certain thing. So we're just going to just start firing this stuff off, and again, these are the rules that I'm going to be using for this, just like I sort of do with UFC, just so there are no misunderstandings. I am not going to be doing any of this fancy schmancy unit sizing or Kelly's or anything like that. I'm just going to just be kicking old school and firing the same amount for every bet. And again, So that doesn't, there are some things that are going to have a bigger edge than others. So I'm probably under betting those. And I thought about doing it a little fancier, but I decided to do it this way. So I'm just going to kind of set these arbitrary numbers and see what we do. So what we're going to do is we are going to set a unit size of $18 per bet. Okay. And we're just going to bet as many things at $18 until we just kind of get bored. So here, the first thing we look at is Gleyber Torres over on RBIs. But I guess we should check to see what the actual odds are, right? Because it says the over line is 240. So if it's not over 240, then that's probably bad, right? So I guess the first thing we have to figure out is what team Gleyber Torres plays for, right? Does anybody know that? I only play DFS every day, and I have no idea what team any of these players play for. He's on the Tigers, right? Okay, so let's go to Tigers, and we're going to go to batter props, and we are going to go to Gleyber Torres. Let's see if these things are even available. How do we find this? So Gleyber Torres, so there are 5 bets total available on Gleyber Torres. And what did we see? What did we say? We said Gleyber Torres, RBIs, we want to bet the over, okay? Over RBIs, but over how many? What does this say? Over 0.5. So over 0.5 RBIs. Where are RBIs? RBIs. See, it doesn't have plus a half. It only has 1 plus 200. So I'm actually only getting plus 200, right? So that doesn't really help me too much. Like, I guess the Paydirt model is suggesting best odds. So I guess if I can't get the best odds, if I can't get plus 240, it's probably not good, right? However, it looks as though over payout is 340. I wonder if I can still bet it if it's plus 200. Really don't know the answer. So I'm going to make this determination that because it's plus 240, actually, I mean, it's only plus 200, and this is telling me I could bet it at 240, a big edge. I'm going to bet it just because I made it here anyway. So we're going to go here, and we're going to play for $18, Gleyber Torres plus 1. So 1 or more RBIs. How hard is that? 1 RBI, that seems easy. All right, next. Freddie Freeman, over stolen bases. So 10-1 we're supposed to get. I guess the first question, do you think we're going to actually get 10-1? That's going to be a good question. Let's see. So let's find the right game. I know what team he plays for, so that's good news. It's already a big advantage. So let's look at Freddie Freeman. See, I'm getting there. I'm figuring this out. Freddie Freeman, stolen bases, total bases. Doesn't look like there is anything here for stolen. Oh, wait, stolen bases? No. So it doesn't even give me a stolen base prop. So I guess that's out, right? Am I missing something? Should there be stolen bases here? I should see it, right? Singles, doubles, walks, strikeouts. No, so there's no. So it looks like that they're so confident that he's not going to get a stolen base that they're not even offering it. Should I look around? Should I look for on other sites? A 10-1. I mean, you probably should, right? But okay, not off to a good start here. Alex Verdugo. Now this is for batters, hits, runs, and RBIs. Okay, so you have to remember what team he plays for, I guess. Used to be, he's on Atlanta now. Okay, so let's pull this up. Atlanta, Verdugo. You could probably search a little bit easier. I don't even see the Braves playing today. Hold on. Is it not Verdugo? It says Verdugo, but I don't even have. Yeah, you know what? This is a lesson that you really need to have one of those tools that can find you what you want, right? Can you just search for Verdugo this way? No. Verdugo? No. So they're giving me a line on Verdugo here, and I don't even see him playing. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Austin Wells. I've heard of him. Pretty sure he's on the Yankees, right? So here we have Austin Wells, batters, hits, runs, and RBIs. And we want to have over minus 155.5. Hits, runs, and RBIs. Why is it only 0.5? Let's see something. Let's go to Austin Wells. Aaron Judge. Hang on. Austin. He's on the Yankees, but he's not. Oh, here he is. Okay, Austin Wells. Hits, runs, and RBIs. So here we have an over 1.5. One plus. So here it says minus 330. Over prop, over line, over difference. So this has minus 155, but the actual line is minus 330. Boy, I don't know about this. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here, guys. Oh, James didn't update the betting side. Oh, that stinks. Well, dang. Well, Adam was telling me that they had the stuff for the players, for the teams at least. Let's see. That sheet for specific teams. Boy, it looks as though I'm failing here, guys. Yeah, this is my bad, I guess. Because this is rule number 1. Make sure you test everything before you fire this. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I guess this isn't updated yet. I really apologize. So I guess we're gonna scrap this and just gonna do DFS. Boy, I was really looking forward to this. But you know what? The good news is that when we do this, when we finally figure this out, we're going to look back on this one and we're going to say, remember, Eric, when you didn't even have everything updated and you looked really, really stupid, like trying to do things? Well, you know what? Pitching props looks updated. All right, let's see. All right, pitching props. Okay, here we go. Pitching props. Pitching props. But again, bet sheet is not listed. So pitching props projections. I mean, we could look at this, right? So how do we do this? So how do we figure out what the best bets are? And we could just compare this to the line, I suppose. All right. So let's go back, I guess, to Garrett Crochet, I guess, pitching. Yeah, this is no good. but it's fine. You know what? We'll be able to fix this one of these days. We got to be able to fix it so idiots like me can use it. This is the problem. So let's see crochet strikeout, which I guess everybody's playing that one. But let's just see. Pitcher props, crochet. It says 6.5. That's kind of the board. That's like the line here. So if you want to go over 6.5, over 5.5, you're saying. Patrick, over 6.5 is minus 150. Under 6.5 is plus 115. We look at the betting model, it looks like 6.76. So this looks to be kind of fairer value. So yeah, so you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna scrap this until I figure this out. Because I mean, what we're really supposed to be able to do, honestly, is look at the bet sheet, come up with the edge, and then just kind of go. Maybe it just hasn't been updated yet. Okay, moving on. Let's do DFS, I guess. Yeah, but we don't even know if it's the right game, Rody. You know what I mean? You're telling me this isn't even updated? How do I even know it's the right name? It's even the right game. We have Austin. We have Alex Verdugo. He's not even playing. So, okay. Let's go into something I do know, I guess, and that would be building DFS lineups. Okay. So we have pretty full slate today. Well, for the afternoon slate, it's 7 games. And I think I have most of the projections here already. So one thing that you'll be able to see, which is kind of cool if you're on DFS, you'll be able to see different sets of projections. So like these are the SaberSim projections, these are mine, and these are Goldie's. So you could choose, right, which one of these you wanted. Like you could use SaberSims, you could use Goldie's, you could use Sheets, or you could use the average of them. I'm going to, whatchamacallit? I'm going to not talk about the benefits and the negatives of averaging baseball projections right now. We're just going to pick one, and we're going to use mine. In addition to the ownership, I presume we're going to we'll put my ownership in here as well. Okay. And the next question I have is whether I want to limit the stacks or limit the minimum salary. And what I've been kind of playing around with recently is putting the minimum salary at $49,000. It's not something I used to do. I used to just kind of let SaberSim kind of do its thing. But I decided that I'm going to play around with the minimum salary of $49,000 here. And that's that. The other thing I'm gonna do is I am not going to pre-require certain sets of stacks, certain 5-mans or 4-mans. I'm gonna first build it kind of organically and then just kind of see sort of what I get. But what I do have to do is I have to upload my my lineups in here, which I did not do yet. I mean, I did it on the external site, but I'm using the TrueDFS interface. So now it has everything that I'm playing. And you see I'm playing a couple of things that I haven't really played before. Like I'm playing the Power Alley, a couple of those. The Upper Deck, I'm playing some of that. I'm playing some of the Batter's Eye. And I'm playing these 2 qualifiers. I've actually run pretty well in those. So let's put in, this isn't really too much. I should probably pull this up and see. These are usually good percentages for fantasy for qualifiers to put in for the big 920s, because it's technically only paying 100%, but I put 90 and then cashing 10%. This is a little tweak that I kind of like, actually. Anyway, so everything's already been put in here. We're gonna default to the SaberSim fields. I usually think that's probably a pretty good idea. And we're just going to fire 5,000 lineups, at least for openers. Now, again, whether you can play 5,000 lineups or 4,000 lineups or whatever, it's going to depend on your on what package you have. And this goes for whatever site you're on. You know, it's like the SaberSim or TrueDFS or whatever. They offer all different types of packages, like whether you could build 500 lineups, 5,000 lineups, whatever it is. So everything that I'm showing you is based on like getting the full Monty, like getting all of the 5,000, you know, all 5,000, all contest sims, all everything. So if your package or your plan or whatever doesn't allow you to do all this, then it just doesn't. Okay. And I don't play with the less than the full package, so to speak. So this is my process. All right, so I'm building 5,000. The reason, listen, the more lineups you can build, the better, because then when you can tweak, you have a bigger pool that it could draw from without you having to rebuild. Okay. Okay. So again, what's important to realize is what we've done. So at this point, we've built 5,000 lineups using what we think are good projections, using what we think are good ownership projections, and then using what we think is a good lineup builder, that being SaberSim. And what SaberSim is doing, it's building 5,000 lineups, and then it's ranking them in whatever way you're telling it to rank them. Okay, so you see here on the right, it says lineups 82. It says 82 because I'm playing 82 total lineups today. That's why it's listing the first 82. But the question is, how is it being ranked? So right now, it's being ranked by SaberScore. And what SaberScore is, well, first of all, let's say what SaberScore is not. It is not the straight optimal. It's not, you know, projected fantasy points. What SaberScore is kind of a SaberSim created formula, which purports to take into account projections, upside, you know, a good right tail range of outcome. It intends to punish lineups that are too chalky, things like that. And it's like the original SaberSim build. Okay, that's what they created like way back in the day, and they continue to improve on it. Okay, thanks, Kevin. But I don't even know if that's from today or yesterday. I don't even know if these lines are from today or yesterday. I don't even know who they have modeled for playing. So I don't know, unless someone wants to come in and tell me the models are updated. I'm just not even good doing it. Okay, so under this SaberScore thing, we do large slate. If you want to see what this is, okay. So SaberScore, large slate, and you click on the eyeball here, and it will tell you what all this means. So it says formula, like 0.3 times sum of my projections, and projections are self-explanatory. And then this other thing, which some people just kind of get wrong if they even get into the weeds on this, like 0.7 times percentile 99. So what that is, it's not what some people think it is. It's not the 99th percentile outcome of these players necessarily, but it's the 99th percentile outcome of like the entire lineup. Okay, so that's just a little bit different. Okay, but that's a very important metric. And then you see it says plus. Well, it's a little bit confusing because it says plus minus, right? So it's actually minus 0.6 times the average adjusted ownership of the lineup. So what this ranking is designed to do is to provide upside, to provide, you know, some ownership fade, and of course maximize correlation and things like that. So if you don't even want to get involved with contest sims or anything like that, you can do a couple of things. Number one, you can just stop here and just put all these lineups in your contests. Now, again, what this is doing, it's not really identifying which lineup is correct for which contest. It's just kind of firing these off in this order here like this. But as I like to say, I mean, better than nothing, right? So just to show you what that does, we'll save to contest. But again, this little button here, Min Uniques, what this can do if you want is you can play, you can drop this down and play more diversification within your lineups. And a good way to kind of gauge that is to kind of just take a look at this average projection here. Like right now, my 82 lineups have an average projection of 96. And as we scroll down for more Min Uniques, it's fun to see what that does to this. So this one, it doesn't do anything. Like you go to Min Uniques 2, it doesn't change anything. Min Uniques 3, it actually moved it up a little bit. And then Min Uniques 4, not bad either. So this is like actually kind of cool. So if you wanted to play this way, you could go to as many Min Uniques as you want pretty much. So you go to Min Uniques 4, for example, and now you have some cool, what was I going to say? Cool diversified upside lineups. And now we could do this. We could save all these into my contests. And let's do this for now. Let's upload these just so we have them. But that's not what we're going to go with, okay? But again, this is just in case my computer crashes and I can't do anything else, right? This is better than what I had. So, and then this is something I actually believe. People think I'm nuts, but I think the more lineups you build and the more times you upload, the better, because it just gets your muscle memory, even in your hands, keyed in to what it takes just to keep uploading lineups. Because when you get down to the end and it's like 5 minutes to post time, you want to be able to go as quickly as possible. And so the more times you build lineups, just the quicker you can be with clicking, and then that's I believe that with my trading, my stocks, and all of it. The more reps, the better. Okay. In any case, all that was sorting by Sabre score. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to simulate all these lineups against these various contest fields. Now let's go back here for a second. So within the contest tab, you'll see like these are all the tournaments that I'm playing. And what this does is this, again, for most of the contests, pre-fills in like the fee, the prize pool, number of entrants, what the prize breakdown of these things are, right? And the reason why it does that is that when when you want to simulate your lineups against the field, you want a good, you want to know what the field is going to do. You want to be able to have a decent field to compare your lineups to. And that's not particularly easy. And also, the lower amount of entrants that you have, then the less off the wall you have to be. Okay. So that's why it's important to get all this data in. Now, I want to make this actually pretty accurate. So both these tournaments that I'm in actually have less people than I put. These actually only have, respectively, 10, 7, and 10, depending on which one this is. So the one that's 135 is 10. So we'll change it. This has 10, and this one has 7. So let's change that. That's good. And then now what we can do is now we can simulate all of these lineups. Okay. And we're not just simulating the whatever, how many, the 82, it's re-simulating the 5,000. What I like to do, if you really want to get an idea of what this does to your builds, let's take a look at what we have before we accomplish this and then what we'll have after. So when we first built just using Sabre score, you're getting 58% Mets, 35% Boston, 20% Baltimore. And then as far as pitchers go, you'd be getting, let's see, as far as exposures go, where would that be? Under build one. Should put under contest, right? We would be getting, looks like, okay, so 61% Jameson's high on and 52% Garrett Crochet, right? So I wonder what we're going to get once we apply the contest sims. And this is the brain meld. Okay. So let's click on run contest sim. And you see it's now simming all 5,000 lineups against all 9 of these contests with the particular, characteristics of each of these contests. The idea being that we could do better than just taking the top 81 by, or however many this is, 82 by Saber score and putting them in everything. Let's tailor the particular lineups to the particular contests. And we're also going to predict what everybody's going to be playing in those contests. All of that is not easy, okay? And if you try to do this on your own, it's really difficult. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying that it's very, very difficult. So let's see what we get here, right? So now let's toggle away from this. So now what we'll do is now we will look at stack exposures again after we've simmed, and you see a completely different picture, right? Once we've taken into account like ownership and what we think people are going to play and the particular contest we're in, it's no longer the Mets. Now it's actually Toronto, which is showing up as the top owned stack. And one of the reasons for that, as you'll see, is based on their analyses of what's been working or what's good leverage. When you pick the top, when you try to go against the top rated pitchers on the slate, you actually do pretty well. Like you'll see DeGrom, I imagine, probably projects pretty well, even though I wasn't getting too much of him. So it's not surprising to see a team against the top-rated pitcher be a good leverage stack, especially in the higher amount of entries GPPs. And then we go into the players. We'll take a look, and then let's see. Yeah, I don't know why I can't get to the exposures. Oh, here it is. So it is very similar, the exposures. It's still Jameson Taillon, number 1 owned, followed by Crochet. But the real difference is going to be in the hitting exposures. So what I'll probably do is then I will go into stack exposure and see what type of stacks I'm getting and see if there's anything I want to X out. Like I don't believe that even in a 7-game slate, I want like completely non-correlated stacks, like 4 2s, I probably wouldn't want. So we can just actually X those out. Okay. I think that it's okay. And 3 3s, I don't think we want those either. So we'll X those out. And that's one of the reasons why it's good to build as many lineups as you can. So this way, you don't have to rebuild when you make these changes. So you see, I don't have too many lineups that are not 5-2, 5-3s, but of those, the majority of them are pretty good. Now the only other thing I would like to suggest, all right, now again, same thing as before. Once I have kind of a build that I like, ooh, and by the way, check this out. We've changed it a little bit. Once we've gotten rid of the 3 3s and all that stuff, we actually have more Boston and Baltimore than Toronto, which is interesting. So let's first of all let's save all these, okay? And what this is doing is saving them all into the contests that they're supposed to go in. Okay. So again, let's get more reps. Let's put this in. Okay. But now there's another thing we could do. So if you're pretty adept at SaberSim, you can select, instead of doing direct fill in your builds or after you've simmed, to use autofill, and that's just a little different. So What autofill will do is it will go in this order that you've suggested, all right, in this order that you list. And then what it's going to do is it's going to do direct fill like 8 times in a row, okay? So instead of just taking the same lineups and basically distributing through the lineups they're supposed to be in, what this is going to do, it's a little bit different. What this is going to do is first it's going to sim everything against the mega 8s. And the reason why I've sorted it by fee is, quite honestly, if there's a lineup that's going to sim in the mega 8s, I'm going to make sure I get it, as opposed to having it not show up because I wanted unique lineups throughout my portfolio. So what it's going to do, it's going to simulate your lineups against the mega 8s, put in the best lineups in the mega 8s, and then this is the trick. It's going to take that lineup out of your 5,000, then resim everything for the next one, which is the ball 4. Then it's going to take the top sim lineup against the ball 4, put it in there, take that out, resim everything, etc., right down the list. So the point is that if there's going to be a lineup that's going to sim well for all the contests, for example, I am not going to want it in all of them because I want max diversification, but I want to make sure that I get it in the top lineup. So that's why I kind of do it this way. And that's why the least important is the bat flip. You know, like for me, it's the lottery freaking anyway. So if there's a lineup that's going to show up in the bat flip, but also show up in a higher buy-in, I'd rather let it go in the higher buy-in. Okay. So what this does, it just sims things in a little bit different manner. So let's do that. And you'll see it come down. It's pretty cool, actually. So it simmed everything down here. It loaded everything. Let's save it to contest again. And then once again, we'll sim down here. And then we will put it into the downloads. We'll put it into DraftKings. And the one thing you always want to check is to make sure that everybody's in your lineups. And SaberSim actually, so like this guy, so Nemo, he's day-to-day. So is he not playing? We actually don't know yet. So he was available off the bench if he needed during Sunday's win, and he hopes to be in the lineup. So you don't even have all of our lineups in yet, so that's fine. So we already know there's an error. So we have Espinal is out for the Reds. So that means that my projections are not good. It means that somebody has been for the Reds. I don't even think he's on the Reds, is he? Wait a minute. Oh yeah. So I guess these lineups have come in the meanwhile, right? Is that what's happened? So what we could do is you go into contests. Let's see if they've updated this yet. Yeah, it hasn't picked it up yet. The fact that that he's out. But what I can do, since I know he is out, we could go back in here and then I wonder if we can just reset this one here, set this projection. Or we can just take Espinal out, right? Builds, lineups. You got to start it here, right? Okay, so we'll go Espinal. Let's see. All you do is hit apply, and then all the Espinal ones go away. It's a pretty cool feature, I think. That's why, again, I really like having the having all of those lineups to choose from. So again, same thing. We'll go back into autofill. I don't know why that came up. Put these in again. And down we go. So we are going to have to make sure that our lineups are, are sound. Now, for anybody that cares, you know, I never really went over the actual plays or like how these projections were reached or whatever. Let me just make sure there's no one else that I need to get out kind of right away here. Got to watch that Nemo situation. Obviously, there's a lot of guys here, so I will show you my projection just so we have. But I was already right. So like for example, like this is actually the TrueDFS interface. So what this will show you is actually. Let's take a look. Where are my players actually? I just kind of got lost. Projections, players. Yeah, I don't like looking at them this way. So what I do is I build my spreadsheet, which I put here. So like here under the MLB projections, I'm not going to show you my own spreadsheet, but just to kind of show you where they would be here on the site. And this is the kind of thing I like. I like this value score that I created. This is like a derivative of formulas that people used to use in football a little bit, where it takes into account both point per dollar and salary and straight. I'm sorry, point per dollar and raw projection, and kind of normalize those a little bit because it's kind of hard sometimes to tell whether you need to play good point per dollar plays or good, you know, just raw points plays. So as far as me kind of like gazing at what looks good, this sheet's value score here, this is what I use to kind of at least eyeball things, right? So that's why it's no surprise that Tyon is showing up as like the top guy. This is a very, and again, this is for somebody who's been following my stuff for like a little while. Like this is actually a pretty high number, even relative to others. Like over 40 tends to be really, really good. I'll just say. And that's why you have Tyon Crochet is like a very like super solid combination there. You know, these are one of those pairings that's, you know, sometimes like these are high owned you want to fade, and there are others that are high owned, but you know, as the content providers like to say, you know, they're chalky, but they're chalky for a good reason. I think this could actually be one of those cases where they're chalky for a good reason. And so if you were going to hand build or vibe build or whatever, I would probably recommend on a slate like this that you'd be more inclined to go different at hitting as opposed to pitching. Now, it's also always nice when the sims kind of give me what I thought in the first place. So that's sort of what I'm getting anyway. Let's take a look at the not at the projections, at the stacks. Oh wow, this is pretty cool the way it organized them for me. All right, so what I do with stacks is I rate them in like different ways, right? If you want to look at stacks, so the column on the left here, Nemo is in, thank you, is just like the raw points, and so if I were just going to bet on which team would score the most fantasy points, like which 5-man stack would score the most fantasy points, it would be listed in this way. So that would be the Mets. But you'll see a couple of things. Number one, I mean, they also look to be the highest owned of that. And also, we're not exactly sure whether you can even get them in yet. So this is just raw stacks. And what I like to do, again, just to eyeball it, is see, okay, is there anybody kind of near the top of this that's not that highly owned? And also, how much higher are the Mets than everybody else? So the Mets are higher, but not by too much, I guess. And there's this big spread of teams like right underneath them. So that's something to just kind of think about as we go into these other ways of looking at it. So if we sort it in this middle by value stack, all that really is point per dollar. So if you want to look at which teams look the best point per dollar, that would be Baltimore, San Francisco, and Kansas City, and then actually the Mets. Okay. So Baltimore, San Francisco, and Kansas City. And again, this kind of nice thing I look at is not only is Kansas City, for example, one of the higher value rankings, but also they don't look to be that highly owned. And Boston as well. I mean, or the White Sox. So the White Sox are extraordinarily low owned given their point per dollar situation. And then to put it all together, I look at this modified stack thing all the way on the right. And that's essentially like Sheets value score, like as applied to stack. So that kind of combines everything. So if I like looking like 2 seconds and I want to say, okay, who's the best stack? I'll just look at Sheets value score and say, okay, San Francisco. Okay, so you want to ask me who the best stack is? I will just say San Francisco. Combining, point per dollar, regular fantasy points, whatever. And in addition to that, let's see what the discrepancy is here. 98, 96, 94. So these top three look like really, really strong. So that would be San Francisco, Mets, and Baltimore. So if you had to say which would be the best one, well, the cool thing about it is that San Francisco and Baltimore are less owned than the Mets. So I think that putting all of this, what I've said together, like if you want to just build lineups without even running sims or running anything, just using my projections or whatever projections, I would say San Francisco and Baltimore would be my top stacks to go with the pairing of Crochet and Taya. So just again to see what that could look like, you go Crochet, you go Tyon, and then which Baltimores do you use? Well, probably the ones over here, right? So Henderson, Urias, Hanley, Holiday, Kerstad, for example. So we start with those. Who we say Henderson, Urias. So let's put these guys in. And don't worry, we won't build a whole lineup. Who do we say? Holiday, Henderson, Herstad, only 2,500. I guess that's why he gets in there. Hanley and Urias. Let's see. Hanley, a catcher, only 2K. Urias. Now, if you wanted to, like as you can see, like you have plenty of money. Okay, so you don't even need to play just the top value guys. You could actually beef this up a little bit and go all the way over here and pick up some of these others, like Mullins and O'Hearn, for example. So you could play these. So Henderson, Holiday, Mullins, and O'Hearn if you wanted, as opposed to these cheapos if you wanted. So let's just see. Mullins and O'Hearn, we could play either place. So let's put them in first base. So you could even play the 5 kind of like just high upside place, not even play the cheapos and fully afford that. Okay. I won't, put this whole thing together for you, but you see, baseball does not have to be hard. Okay. We didn't build the chalkiest lineup, but we relied on projections. And you have something reasonable here. Okay. I guess that's pretty much all I'm going to do today. I wish I was able to do more of the sports betting stuff, but we will. With every success comes a failure, starts a failure. So the sports betting piece of this was definitely a failure, but we will do it again. I'm going to be back at like 5:30 to do the night slate as well as the NBA. By the way, let's go Knicks. Solid. How good is Tibbs keeping freaking Brunson on the bench the whole fourth quarter? Sick. Okay, that is going to do it. Hope everybody got something out of this.